This is episode number 52 at the BS Machine. Welcome back, guys. And this is your host, Tommy Kendi. And once again, it's such an honor with hand on heart to be here with you on this mighty fine episode. And to all my new listeners from all around the world, as you keep coming in each week, welcome. And I love you for joining this epic podcast. Well, I reckon it's epic because I get to chat on it every week and I learn so much every week. Just like, well, it looks like you guys are learning good stuff too because you're sticking around, and yeah, the listening numbers are really starting to grow, which is fucking exciting. So this week, I am chatting to you about this being in limbo, where you're just in this sort of no man's land, and you're just sitting in limbo. Yeah, you've got decisions to make or not make or whatever, or maybe getting pressure from society or the outside world to make certain decisions or to do certain things, and you're in this place of limbo land. It could also play out, in other areas in life where you are wanting to do something but you're doing nothing about it. Like you've got an idea or something like that. But I reckon you would agree when I say this place of sitting in limbo, not going one way or the other, is the most fucking shit feeling ever. When you've got, when you just don't do anything and you're just sitting in this uncomfortable place, uncomfortable space of being too fearful of making a decision, but also being too fearful of not making a decision, and it's a fucking shitty place, I reckon, and it's all self-deprecating, and you have to understand that it's a choice for you to be in that place and to sit in that place. And if you're not enjoying it, then I guess the only way out is to take some form of action or do something towards A or B. Because when you're sitting in limbo, I'll explain to you what actually happens when you're sitting in limbo. It's this place of being in no man's land, right? And what I mean by no man's land is when you're sitting in limbo, it feels fucking lonely, because what happens is when you're in limbo, you'll engage all these other people, whether it's friends or if you work with counselors or whatever, and you engage all these other people to try and tell you what to do. So you tell them your whole story, and you tell them all about it, and it's like, yeah, and this happened, and that happened, and then I feel like this, and da da da, and you engage other people to come into your story, and then what will happen is those other people also get involved in that, and then they either give you advice about it, or they tell you what their thoughts are on the matter. And then you sit with that, and then nothing feels right. And so you stay in this no man's land, and you're sitting in it, and it feels, maybe for one day, it feels like, oh yeah, cool, I've done something. And then you go back on it, and then it's just like, even talking about it makes me fucking anxious, because it's a shitty ass feeling. And so what I wanted to explain to you about sitting in this no man's land, and what actually happens within the body and within your behavioral patterns, is that you keep getting these stories when you're sitting in no man's land, and you keep making up these stories, these certain beliefs, and you keep reinforcing these beliefs in yourself that it doesn't matter which way you turn, you're bound for gloom. You're heading for gloom and doom, or is it the other way around, doom and gloom? And it's actually just not the case, because when you're in this place of no man's land, that's all you know, and that's all that is happening. And then what you fear may happen hasn't actually happened yet. So when you're not committed to anything, it's really hard for life or the universe or whatever you want to call it. It's really hard for your life to commit back into you. And when you're in a place of no man's land, you're not going to get the proper guidance from anyone. It just can't happen. Like, you can't get guidance from a place of, and I'm talking about not guidance from friends or whatever, but I'm talking about internal guidance, because really that's the most important thing. When you listen to your internal guidance, when you listen to your intuition, and I've talked enough about that in my previous podcasts, so that you should understand what intuition really is. And so when you're committing to nothing other than being in this place of neither here, there, or anywhere, in the body, you actually are creating the energy of you constricting yourself. You're not allowing life to come at you. You're not allowing anything to really come at you, because you're so committed to this place of nothingness, of just plateau and nothing moving. It's not bad, it's not good, it's just this neutral ground, which is fucking boring, to be honest. And then you go from one day to the next to the other, and before you know it, you've wasted weeks and months, maybe even years for some people, where you're just sitting with the same shit and nothing actually happens. And so it's so important to have ways to come out of this this place of fucking sitting around doing nothing. And look, you know what? I'll bring up an example, which I mean, it's, people are saying it's controversial at this point in time, but for me, it's actually not controversial at all from the way that I look at the world. But this whole thing around the vaccines, of what's happening around the world at the moment, and especially here in Australia, there's every fucking conversation at the moment is based around, are you getting the vaccine? Are you not getting the vaccine? Are you blah, 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 blah? And there's all this pressure from both sides, regardless of what you think. There is. I mean, a lot of people. There's a lot of people that are very passionate about getting a vaccine and helping the world out and just quickening this process. But there's also a lot of people that are really passionate about whatever the reasons they have of not getting the vaccination. And both parties are absolutely right. There's no black, there's no white, and some people can say, well, regardless of what you feel like you want to do for your body, you should be getting vaccinated, because it's not about you, it's about other people. Or on the other side of the fence, it's like, why would you get vaccinated? I've heard some people even say, if you get vaccinated, it's like you're going against the world order or whatever the fuck, or the new order of whatever the fuck. So at the end of the day, 99.9% of us don't fucking know anything. Like, we're just making decisions based on either, hype or the media, or we're making decisions based on what our immediate social economics is telling us to do, or we're making decisions based on just our own intuitive feelings and our own intuitive, the way we feel about our body, about the world, and whatever. And I honestly reckon both of them are right. But if you're not making a decision either way, and you're just sort of sitting with it and whatever, it's like it's fucking boring, because you've got to either make a decision one way or another. And I think it's a really good example right now. And it is, to not get the vaccine is a decision, and it's also a decision to get the vaccine, isn't it? But both ways is you've just got to commit into one, and then something will happen. if you do get the vaccine and you whatever happens and you're all fine, then fucking awesome. Like, hallelujah. If you don't get the vaccine and you pick up coronavirus and whatever, fucking cool. It's your choices, you know. So whatever. But that's what happens, isn't it? When you're confronted with this thing of making an important decision, especially when there is all this pressure coming from the outside, you know, of both for going either way. And when there's pressure from the outside, it makes it hard to really tune in to your own guidance, to your own intuition, because it starts to get a bit foggy, doesn't it? It does. It starts to get a bit foggy, and you're like, oh, I don't know what to do, and then you fucking talk about it with everyone, and you put your own 2 cents in. To be honest with me, I mean, obviously I'm talking about it here, but I rarely talk about it. Very, very rarely, unless someone brings it up in conversation with me. I just don't talk about it because it's not for me to talk about. I'm not an expert. All I know is, for me, what's important and what I believe is the best for my body and my life, and that's what I've done, and that's what I've done my whole life, and it's worked out well for me. But this is not just about the vaccine or whatever. This is about every other thing in life, like you know, even with you know, the way you treat your body, or the way that you are wanting to have relationships. In relationships, there's choices and decisions that needs to be made almost every fucking day, because usually there's, you know, it's like when you're getting pressure from the outside to act in a way that's going to make another person feel right, or that's going to make another person feel good. It's hard to listen to your own intuitive guidance and your own gut feel of what's best for you, because if you're getting all this pressure from the outside, then you sort of just want to, you know, especially for someone like me who fucking hates conflict and doesn't like conflict, it's hard for me to make decisions based on what I feel about my body, myself, and my future life. And so at some point, before even making a decision, you have to come back and take a step back and not hurry the process. And if you do some inner work, and I mean, actually, you know what? I don't like calling it work, because it sounds, it sounds like you've got to work for something. But I'm also, like, for myself, I love doing inner exploration, and so yeah, I mean, that's a word that works for me in terms of exploration, because every time I do a little digging within myself, I always come up with so many cool shit that I haven't been able to explore before, or I haven't been able to realize before. And even if it's the same things that come up, I realize that each time I dig, I just get a little bit deeper. And so in terms of sitting in no man's land, it's a fucking boring, it's fucking boring, because it's just a lame ass way of living life. And it's such a good way to waste time, to waste fucking life, when you could be either making the right decision for you moving forward, or you could be making the wrong decision. And even if you make the wrong decision, you're going to get punched in the face. You're going to learn quick, smart, and you're going to get pushed over to the right way of moving. But if you're sitting in no man's land, you're not allowing life to unfold for you. You're basically just sitting on the sidelines and looking at your life and going, there's time. And then, as I said before you know it, you're sitting back and you are, you know, an old fuck, and you don't, you know, you're fucking close to death, you know, and that'd suck. And I definitely don't want to be that person. I'd rather make the wrongest decisions ever moving forward, and get pushed back over to the right way, or the better way of doing things, other than just sitting by and not making any decisions at all. And you know, if any of my best mates would be listening to this podcast, they would laugh and go, Tommy, the fuck are you talking about? Like, you are the worst at making decisions. But you know what? That's often true, but it's also often very untrue, because the way I usually I usually make decisions based, like I'll ask for advice, sometimes probably too much advice, and I sometimes involve, you know, too many people in the kitchen, and too many cooks in the kitchen doesn't really evolve into much. And then I listen to their guidance and then make decisions based on their guidance, and then that fucks me over. And then life actually shows me which way to go. So I am good at making decisions, and I do love making decisions. Maybe I don't do it the right way, you know, and sometimes I don't do it the right way, but quite often there's been so many times in my life where I've just gone for things, and every single thing out there was saying, dude, this is a no, like this is a road to nowhere. Like, why would you even go down that route? And I have, and it's worked out really magically for me. And also, if you ask my best mates, you know, and the people that know me the best, they would say to you, one of the things that is hilarious about Tommy is that somehow this fucker always lands on his feet, and something like crazy just always comes in for him that just pushes him and propels him forward. And that's something that I really enjoy about my life, that I quite often go down these journeys where no one else would go, and then there's some fucking magic there for me waiting at the other end, and I'm not scared to take those little turns. And I teach, you know, all of my clients how to go towards those really scary places that maybe most of the world wouldn't go to. But it's a cool thing, because even with my clients, my coaching clients that I'm coaching at the moment, and I have in the past, they every time they go down that road of not just fear, but that road where not many of their social, economic, society or social group would go, every time they come back and they say, wow, Tommy, I can't believe it, but magic literally hit me in the face. And so what I'm getting across to you here is basically how important it is for you, if right now you're sitting in no man's land, to make a decision one way or another. But before you do that, have this ability to do some inner exploration. And inner exploration can be done in many ways. I've mentioned it before 100 fucking times, is journaling. You know, you just basically write a question at the top of the sheet, and you know, the first time it's weird, and you just simply, if whatever question you want to ask, you just ask the question, you put it on top of the page, and then just start writing about it. And then before you know it, the answer will just flow out. And this idea of automatic writing is so powerful, because basically the way it works is you write out your question, and then you just don't stop writing. And I even do it in a way where I'll start writing, and if I don't know what to write about, I'll start writing. I'll literally write, okay, I've written the question on the top here, but I'm not sure what I'm going to get here. I've got no idea. But if I did have an idea, I would say that this is the idea that it would be, and then and it just keeps coming out. But you just got to start writing, automatic writing. Put your timer on for 10 or 15 minutes. If you really want to go bald, not as in your hair falling out of your head. If you want to go bold, I think that's a word. You know, you can even, I do this once every 6 months, where I do a 40-minute automatic writing, where I pick an area, or I just get a general gist of what happens, just about my life, and I just start writing for 40 minutes, and I do not let the pen stop. If the pen fucking stops, I just go straight back in. I go, I don't know what else to write. And then I just start writing again. Right. So I actually write, I don't know what else to write. And it's such a powerful way. You put the timer on for 40 minutes, but to start with, why not put it on for 5 minutes and just have a look what comes out for you? Just 5 minutes of automatic writing. That 5 minutes, if you haven't done it before, the first the first time, it might seem like a fucking lifetime, but whatever, like 5 minutes just to do some automatic writing, write a question on top of the page and see what you get. And usually right at the end, like in the last minute or 2 minutes is when the magic comes out, because you feel like you're trying to scrape the bottom of the barrel. So if you want, why not even now push stop on this podcast and then come back afterwards? But why not now just do a 5 minute sesh where you just do automatic writing, push pause, and then come back to me. All right, welcome back. So if you came back, that's awesome. We're glad you enjoyed that automatic writing. If you didn't, you're in fucking limbo land, man. You are in limbo land and you're a fucking fuck. Sorry. Anyway, but you could even push pause now if you wanted to, if you haven't done it, and then do it now. If you're driving, then obviously don't do that. Do that when you get home. All right, welcome back. And so, look, this idea of sitting in limbo, it is, isn't it fucking boring? But when you start taking action towards one way or another, and it's not always A or B, when you start doing some digging, you'll start to see that there's A, B, C, or D, or maybe even more. And that is the coolest thing, when you find yourself options, different options, where you're not just compromising with yourself, but you're compromising with the world as well. Maybe there's other options out there that you haven't seen before, and maybe it's not just a black and white situation. And if there is other options out there, you best fucking explore every option, and then you'll know which is the best for you. Because when you land on an option that sinks to your soul, you'll actually feel it in your body, and it's like sometimes it's even around letting go and releasing something out of your life that doesn't serve you anymore. And once you release things out of your life that don't serve you, it is such a incredible feeling. But it's also, what you'll find is that as soon as you release something that doesn't serve you anymore, you will, and you release it properly, you let it go, you push no, you cut that cord. It is such an epic way, because you start to feel this almost like gravity pulling you towards something else. And even if you don't know what that something else is, you start to feel that there's something pulling you towards a passion or a purpose. And it's a really big one, guys. I can't tell you enough how incredible it is when you get yourself out of no man's land. It is so fucking cool, and you don't need to. Excuse me. I don't think I did a burp on the last podcast, but this one I did. I don't think I don't think you need to know how to do that. A lot of people listen to podcasts and whatever, and they go, yeah, but how? It's like, fuck off, how? Like, what are you talking about? You know exactly what to do. If you're not going to take the first step, then you can't take the other step. So the first step is do some inner digging, like get in there, whether it's journaling, whether it's you close your eyes for 5 minutes, whether it's, most of the time, you don't even need to do digging, because the answer is right fucking there. Like, another good thing you can do is, if you're struggling with something in your life, what if you if you took it outside of yourself and you pretended that one of your best mates, someone that you love dearly, whether it's your mum, dad, best mates, whatever, and they came to you with the same problem, it's obvious. You would be like, hey, this is obvious, just do this. But when it comes to you, like, it's the same fucking answer, isn't it? So it's important, guys, because especially now, it's so important. It's important always, but especially now with what's happening around the globe. There is unbelievable amount of pressure that's popping through the whether it's from government. I mean, but I actually feel bad for the government, as like some people in the government as well, because imagine I don't know where the fuck they're getting pressure from, but fuck, they're getting pressured big time as well. And so it's like there's this feeling at the moment of just, it's like a pressure cooker. It's like everyone's like, join the party or don't, or, this or that. And in this pressure cooker, this is the coolest part, right? Is that when there's pressure, this is the stuff I always talk about. When you're in this pressure cooker, that is the tension that you want. You want to have that tension. It's fucking good tension. And when the tension gets so great, this pressure gets so great that you don't know what else the fuck to do, that is when the answers come. That's when the release comes, because just like pressure, when there's too much pressure, what does pressure want to do? It needs to resolve itself. Same thing when you've got like a tummy ache. You know, when you got a tummy ache and you feel this pressure in there, and then, you know, something pops and the pressure's gone. So anytime there's pressure or tension or whatever, it's seeking a resolution. So that resolution will only come is if you move through the dark night of the soul and you start to move forward. You start to do things that, you know, where you got nothing to fucking lose. A lot of us, you know, I get it. I'm not talking about money. But I'm talking about your happiness. You know, I'm talking about the way, your purpose, your fucking passion. Like this is literally the moment. Right now, you've got so much fucking time. A lot of us have so much time on our hands. Like, even if you don't have time on your hands, even if you're working, whatever, like, fuck, man, this is the moment. Like, let's feel this pressure. Let's get into this tension. Let's fucking feel it and get out of no man's land. Like, the way to get out of it is let's just move forward. Don't worry about making the right decision, the wrong decision. Just fucking move forward one way or another. Make a decision and fucking own it, you know. And that's the thing. You might find that if you do make a decision of some sort that's good for you, you gotta honor that. The decision that feels good for your soul, for your fucking body, for your heart, whatever feels good in your soul, move forward. And even if you do move forward and you've made the wrong choice, it will be okay. It will work itself out. But you know, the fuck, man, the amount of podcasts and the amount of study and the amount of hours that I've been studying some of the most successful people in the fucking world, not just financially, but physically, like whatever, like spiritually, anything. And the one of the key things that they always say is, I would much rather make all the wrong choices and fail a million times for me to get that one fucking lucky break. And the only way you're going to get that lucky break, it's actually the shittest way of explaining it, because it's not a lucky break. The only way you're going to get those moments of magic is by learning how to fail, learning how to have the courage to make a decision, even if it's the wrong one, because you will get steered in the right direction. And this is a big thing that I am working with in my life at the moment. And you know, if you're still listening to this podcast, I bet you, well, not bet you, but I will sit here and claim that I'm guessing or assuming or presuming that you are. I sound like a bit of a wog then, didn't I? Hermeta, you are. I love it. I'm not being racist at all, because I'm a wog myself. But I'd say that you are in this space where shit needs to happen, where you're in this space where decisions need to be made. You're in this space where you can't sit in fucking no man's land anymore. You can't. I mean, you can, but you're just delaying the inevitable. And so it's super, super important that you, not just for yourself, but no, actually, number one, for yourself, so you can fucking enjoy life. This is what it's about. Like, we have a fucking life, you know, like we've been given this life for a really strong reason. It's not just to fluff your way through and then fucking stop breathing and die. You've been given a life. It's a fucking honor for you to be in this life, to be experiencing all the things that you're experiencing. It's a fucking honor. Don't take it for granted. Like, step up, make some decisions, make some fucking choices, Get the fuck out of no man's land and go for it. Like, do it. Get the fuck and go and do it. And I'm doing it with you because, you know, even these, as you know, these podcasts, maybe I don't spell it out fucking specifically, but I'm going through the same shit every single week that well, actually most weeks that the stuff that I talk about is shit that I'm learning and going through myself. And I'm learning these things by doing some digging, like getting in there and experiencing and not sitting in no man's land. And you know what? Even if I do sit in no man's land for a short period of time, I fucking catch it. I'm like, cool. I'm in no man's land. I become aware of it. I'll make decisions and I fucking move forward because that's how I want to live my life. And that's how I want you to live your life. So whatever decision you're making, or not even decision, but whatever you're doing, whatever's playing on your mind, the only way to get rid of it is to somehow either release it and let go, or move forward and make a decision. And if you fail, who the fuck cares, man? If you fail, just laugh it off and you'll be steered into the space where you want to go. Cool? I love you. And that's cool. I'm very happy with that podcast because I sort of amped myself up to even do some more shit. As I was talking, a few more things came to my head. So I'm going to get the fuck off this podcast and I'm going to do some inner work, inner digging, inner exploration. And yeah, so get to it, guys. Get to it. And I love your face, and feel free to rate this podcast, subscribe, do whatever you need to do, share it. Fucking share the podcast. That'd be cool. Share it with your buddies, share it with your friends, and feel free to even hit me up on any of the social media platforms, on Instagram or wherever else, if you are so inclined to touch base with me. I write back. I do write back. Like, I fucking write back because I love the people. I love the people. I love you. And I love me. And I love the world. And I love love. I am love. I am love. All right, guys. In my sexiest BS machine voice, fucking go get 'em. Love you and love your guts. Mwah.